Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we've got another very special interview for you. Today's guest is PVPTwitch. I'm sure many of you will know of him from his very popular stream. He's a very highly skilled top 500 level player and we got him on the channel today to discuss whether or not Brigitte might be in need of a rework. Now I'm not going to spoil it for you, but suffice to say there are some strong opinions on display in today's video. Brigitte's overall strength and place in the game is quite a hot community topic, so I hope you find this video entertaining and engaging. So with that all said, that's enough from me. Let's jump straight into the interview. Welcome PvP. Can you just introduce yourself to our audience and give your social media so that everyone can check out the links and find you?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. I am a Twitch streamer and YouTuber. I play Overwatch at a really high level, upper top 500. I play every day. I play this game every day for the past 2 years. You guys can find me on Twitch at PVPTwitch and YouTube at PVPTwitch. When I first started playing, I got known for Junkrat a lot, but over the past few seasons, I've actually promoted flexible gameplay. And what I do, if you come into an average stream, I have a poll that pops up and you can vote on the role you want me to play. And I'll try and showcase all heroes in the game. So it's pretty fun. If you guys want to come by and say hi and say you came from Your Overwatch, that'd be awesome.
So, rather big topic today, and we're going to start with sort of the basic outline of it, which is this concept that Brigitte might need a rework. And I really want to get your thoughts as to why you think that's the case and what the main problems with the character are as she currently is.
So I would just say the basic issue of the hero is that it is basically a tank DPS support, and that it can 1v1 almost anything in the game. It's extremely unfun to play against, and I wouldn't say in top 500 that the hero is absolutely busted, where it's every team has to have a Brig, because you can counterpick the hero, but the problem is the hero, it counters so many high skill level heroes in the game, and that it's just so unfun to play against that I think it really needs just an entire rework.
Okay, so what's the biggest problem for you? Is it the shield bash combo damage, and particularly how that deals with certain flankers? I can think of Tracer immediately off the top of my head. Is that the biggest problem with her kit?
So a huge problem with the hero is that, yeah, people are going to say it was implemented to counter flankers or implemented to counter dive because dive had no counter. But the problem is the hero counters it basically by itself. I know in professional play, if you run dive comp, a Brig isn't going to stop your dive comp from being successful. But in ranked, where it's not a perfect environment, Brig will literally stop an entire dive composition by itself. So if your team is running dive and the other team's like, okay, they're running dive, let's get a Brig, that's what happens. They pick one hero and it counters an entire comp of skill-based heroes, and it just makes it completely unfun for everyone. In top 500, if you see a Brig main, you know that they're going to be flanking the entire game because they know they can't lose 1v1s, or you'll have to spend 2 or 3 people just to try and kill that hero. Even on top of that, the one-shot combo that it offers, the armor stacking that it offers, the insta-heal, there's too many issues with this hero.
Okay, so you brought up the difference between what the game is like in an organized format and what it's like in matchmaking, and we all know, everyone watching knows that that's, ranked isn't organized. Why do you think that a Brig can be so powerful in that environment? Is it just the communication? Is it just the organization that she can take advantage of, and in that context she's really powerful?
I think the core of the issue is that the hero just needs to hold W, and it can kill anything it wants to kill. And if you want to commit resources to kill it, you have to commit so much. You need to have 3 people on it focusing it while it's discorded. And that's such a big problem that it just shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't take half a team to kill one hero that is a support-based hero. What is the role that they were trying to accomplish when they released this thing? It's a support hero, but everyone jokes saying that it's a perfect trifecta of tank DPS support. And in top 500, like I said earlier, anyone that plays this hero, half the time they don't even play the support role. They just play a flank DPS role, and they just 1v1 or anything they want. It's just a problem. What's the role of the hero? What is it supposed to be doing? Because right now what it's doing is breaking the game and making it unfun to play against.
So one question I have for you is that I know that there's going to be some people in the comments who do play Brigitte and they do see themselves as having learnt a particular skill set, having gotten good at something, you know, knowing where to hide, knowing when to make those plays. Is there anything you'd like to say to those people?
Yeah, there's definitely people who play the hero that have invested the time. They wanted to learn the hero, the in and out, and they are really good at the hero. And I definitely commend that this hero isn't as easy as everyone says. You can't just pick it and walk through and kill everyone. There is a good amount of knowledge that you need to know to make sure that you don't overextend and you are positioned correctly. But I think currently, in terms of mechanical skill on this hero, for how much value you can get, it's just way too much. Similar to how much Junkrat was when he got overtuned. And her kit has so many unfun factors in it that something needs to be done to change this.
Okay, so if we take those segments one by one, I think one of the biggest things that people underrate with the power of Brigitte is her personal shield and how much health it has, which makes it very difficult to fight her, as you say, 1v1. She really does take like a group effort and to get around that shield. What sort of health level do you think it should have, or do you think its hitbox should be smaller? Because it does cover just her at the moment, but if people actually stand behind her, they are effectively shielded. What would you do to the shield to make it better to play against?
I think I would just straight up reduce the health. I don't know what a good number is. Maybe 400, maybe 350, but 600 is definitely way too much. I think that's actually the same health as like a Winston barrier, or I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure
it's just under a Winston bubble. But yeah, it is quite a lot. 600 is quite high.
Yeah, because like the problem is it's a support hero. What is the role of Brig? And when you break a 600 HP shield, you still have to kill her. She has armor, and you still have to kill her through that. And on top of that, when she does damage, she self heals. So there's so many, like, how do you kill this thing in a 1v1? Like, it ruins half the DPS in the game, and it can 1v1 half the tanks in the game. It's just ridiculous.
One of the problems that you brought up was her instant healing with her armor pack. Would you change that in any way? Because other heroes that offer burst healing, say like Anna with the nade, it's not quite as much as the armor pack, I believe. And her normal healing is healing over time in a burst. It's a fairly quick time, but Brigitte is instant. What would you do to that?
I'm not really sure exactly what they should do. I would say either make it so it's a heal over time, but it's really fast, maybe. I think one of the biggest issues right now is that, let's say you're committed to killing something and they get just immediately insta-healed and they gain armor on top of that. You're not going to win whoever you're fighting. So you have to hope that you can get out alive. Like right now, if someone is getting pocket healed by an Anna, you know they're getting pocket healed, and you can actually just, get away, and you've got value because the Anna's focused on that person. If you're fighting someone and they get a Zen Orb, they got a Zen Orb, and they got a Zen Orb. So maybe you can get away. Like if Brig throws an armor pack, it insta heals them to full health, gives them armor, and the Brig can do whatever she's doing, doesn't have to worry about it. And what are you going to do? Kill someone at full HP after you've used all your cooldowns?
So it's the power without having to commit. The fact that she can just throw it on someone. It's not like a Bionade, right? It's a Bionade, you actually have to hit them or near them with it. You actually have to throw it fairly accurately. With Brig, it's like a Zen Orb almost. You can just fire and forget. And it's it's a lot of health and a lot of armor, which is very useful in a duel. Do you think the cooldown for that is a little bit too short? Because part of when the character first came out, people were like, oh, she's going to be low healing for your team, but it's not actually as long as people think it is. Would you adjust that at all?
I probably would adjust it. I think if you compare it to Anna's Bionade, Anti-Nade is such a powerful ability. So if you do get the Anna to use that, that's a call out that you actually make in game. Like Anna has no nade. But if Brig throws her armor pack, you're not going to be like, oh, Brig doesn't have an armor pack, because the cooldown is so short that it's not really relevant to say.
Okay, do you think that the shield bash stun needs retooling? Because it's actually, for instance, it's better than McCree's stun, and it is still on a shorter cooldown. What would you change about her shield bash, or is that not the main problem with her kit?
I think just playing against it for so long, I think the range is definitely a problem, because not only can she use that ability to close gap on heroes and just hold W into your face, but the one-shot capability with it is just too strong for the range that it offers.
Okay, so she just does too much, right? And in the hands of a good player who knows where to hide and where to pounce, she's too strong as a duelist. In your mind, what role would you give her? Would you try and make her more specifically a support?
Yeah, I was thinking about a couple things. It might sound crazy, but I was thinking maybe reduce her damage a little bit, raise her AoE healing a little bit, and give her a little bit of personal speed boost. So she doesn't have to rely on her ridiculous shield or her stun to get kills. You know, maybe she can like speed boost around and do damage because she only heals when she does damage, right? So she needs to have a way of actually doing that damage mid fight and having a way of getting out to safety. First, like right now, she relies on her 600 HP shield, and she relies on camping corners in third person and one-shotting people to be able to do that damage.
I was just going to ask you one thing about third person and how she can use it and manipulate it, because that's a big part of how she's capable of doing that surprise you're dead playstyle that we're talking about. Do you think they should retool it so that it's not as useful, or the FOV of it isn't so wide, or maybe when she holds her shield she doesn't even go into third person? What would be a viable solution for you?
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of crazy that the hero can camp corners in third person like that, because I mean, I know Reinhardt can do it, but Reinhardt doesn't have one-shot capability unless he pins you. So you can dodge a pin a lot easier than you can dodge a swing shield bash, swing flail, and that's going to one-shot you when you have 200 HP. One thing I've actually thought of is, it might sound stupid, but maybe when Brig is holding her shield, it puts like flags on the side or something on the side to where if she's camping a corner, you can see her.
Or an aura on the floor, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Because I was going to say, Ryan can do it, sure, but his shield's really wide, right? You could see it. You can see him doing it. Whereas Brig, it's only the size of her, and she can be just around a corner, and then she can jump out and Batman you almost and just be like, surprise, you're dead. So maybe I think an aura, or as you say, flags, so that it's kind of harder to do. So you have to commit more to hiding, so you're more in the corner or whatever. Because if whatever visual representation you give that shield, the player is still going to try and use third person, right? They're still going to try and hide, but they would not be able to do it as easily, which might make it less effective.
Yeah, I mean, Brig would still get value because you're still controlling a zone, right? Not like no squishy is going to want to walk in there and 1v1 that Brig. She does still have stun. Regardless if they nerf the hero will still be strong in 1v1s because it has stun capability and self-heal. But if you don't know the Brig is in there and you walk in there, you're just dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter how much communication you have. If you don't know the hero is there, you're just dead. And kind of crazy that it can do that right now.
Yeah, there's not many heroes that have such limited counterplay options for them, I would say. I think that's the biggest thing that sticks out to me is if you make a bad play against any hero, you can be dead, right? But the mistake, what can count as a mistake against a Brigitte is, oh, I tried to walk somewhere, and that's it. I'm dead instantly.
Yeah.
Which might be slightly too powerful. So, or, you know, heroes that can do that, if you peek a Widow, right, in the wrong place, I just tried to walk somewhere, and you peek a Widow poorly, not with a shield, then she can kill you, but that requires mechanical skill, right? She has to hit that shot, whereas the Brig can just see you coming, wait for you, and then you're dead. So, yeah, perhaps they need to tune that. I think overall it's about giving other players counterplay to what she can do, like reining her in to the point where she can still do the things that she's good at, but give more options to the players playing against her. I think is the real key.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say maybe make her AoE healing while she's doing damage a little bit better, because one thing that I've seen people do is her healing can actually be very powerful in the middle of an annonade from her team as well, because that obviously boosts that healing that she does to the teammates around. Do you think that would become a problem if you boosted that healing?
I don't know, because you can focus on doing damage from ranged, and then you can commit when they get low HP. But I think right now, if you do commit into a fight, that Brig is in such a strong position where the Brig will not die, that it's like not even worth committing to the fight, because if you don't actually kill what you're going for, you're going to die, because the Brig is going to stun someone, and the Brig is, whoever gets stunned is going to die, then everyone's going to get healed, someone's going to get insta armor packed, and it's just, you're going to commit too much and risk too much to try and get one kill. That probably isn't going to happen.
Yeah, so it's that you can't focus her because of the shield, and if you try and focus something on her team that's, say, a squishy, say like an opposing DPS, she can just pocket it, and oh, I can't win that duel. It's this sort of ubiquitous, she's got an easy answer, too many easy answers to too many things. So it's more about focusing her and giving her less utility but maybe better utility for whatever direction you go in? What role do you think suits her the best, actually?
She's definitely an off support, but I think she's also an off DPS and also an off tank. So it's kind of hard to say. It really just depends on the comp she's going in. I mean, Brig enables Goat's comp, and everyone hates Goat's comp. That's 3 supports, 3 tanks. If for the people listening that don't know what that is, she also can play the role of an off tank. Like if you have a Reinhardt, and sometimes I've even seen in top 500 she plays the role of a main tank, which is where your team picks like 4 DPS and the Brig is the tank, which is absolutely insane.
So there's another couple of interactions that are kind of interesting with Brigitte. Particularly, I notice when I do play Reinhardt. I'm a bad Reinhardt, chat, you all know that. But when I go to Earthshatter and I get stunned for free by it, and it robs me of my ultimate, that makes Eddie very unhappy. Would you like to talk about her interactions with Rein and where you see the problems, particularly when it comes to stopping ultimates?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge problem with Reinhardt. I think stunning, canceling ultimates in general is just a horrible change that they made to the game. Maybe for some ultimates it's fine, but like doing a Lucio beat drop and you get flashbang from someone hiding in a corner, like why are you going to lose your ultimate for that? But anyways, with Reinhardt, it's such a big problem because hammer down and then a Brig is hiding around a corner, third person leaps really far and cancels your ultimate because your ultimate cast is pretty slow. That's so frustrating. And you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe I shouldn't have used my ult right there. But then you charge into a support hero and she shield bashes you looking in your face and it stuns you and she starts flailing you. Like, hello? Like, there's a problem with that. Why is that a thing? I know they changed it on PTR, so it's going to act like Doomfist Punch. So both Brig and Rein are going to get knocked on the ground. But still, even that is kind of ridiculous on a certain level.
I guess the reason why they've done that is because other stuns interact with a charge or something like
Doomfist
that in
Punch.
A similar way. Like Doomfist Punch or a McCree stun, say Rein pins at you and you flashbang him, he should stop, in my opinion. Right? It's just because she also moves and is then right next to you. And it's the level of commitment, right? It's the level of commitment for her. Because McCree using his flashbang is a big commitment for him, right?
Yeah.
It's his strongest weapon, one of his only strongest weapons. Whereas with Brig, she's hiding behind a shield, she sees you, you try and pin her, or you've pinned someone and it's going past her, and there's almost no commitment to her because she can shield immediately, she can do anything. And Rein to pin is a huge commitment, right? It's a lot of the top Reins pin. I don't know if anyone's noticed watching gameplay or streams, but a lot of the best Reins don't pin that often because it's such a huge commitment. It's one of the easiest ways to completely throw a fight. So if you do land a pin, say on a value target or the other Rein, and she can just be, nope, is that fair to you? I'm guessing not.
Definitely not. But I think they could change it. Maybe if the Brig stuns you from the side, it can be fair. But if you're charging head on into a Brig shield, I don't think she should be able to shield bash you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And another ridiculous interaction, in my opinion, is that Brig can stun you while you're holding your shield. And I don't know, some people might disagree with my statement on that, but I think it's just absolutely ridiculous that Brig can walk up to you while you're holding your shield and stun you. Because McCree can't just throw his flashbang at your shield and stun you. You can counter that. You can turn your shield and you can block that.
When he tries to throw it over your shield, you can aim your shield up because you know it's coming, right? The point of that interaction is that there's counterplay, right? So the McCree can stun you, but the Rein, if they're good, can read what's going to happen and counterplay the stun that might be coming in. So there's counterplay in that interaction. Whereas with Brig, and he's holding his shield, and if their Rein has Earthshatter, it can be good night. Right, there's almost nothing that he can do. He can't pin in time. He'll just get stunned. He can't just. What's the point of him dropping his shield? He just leaves himself open. So he's really in a position where he can't do anything about it. And I think that's the biggest problem.
And like in top 500, you can literally die in a stun if you don't get a Zarya bubble, because Zarya bubble is the only answer in the entire game that will save you. Or I guess if you get Brig healed instantly, then you're dead. Because a lot of top 500 players, they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna shield bash Widow, you ready to headshot him? Zen, you ready to discord him? So then you get Zen discorded, headshot by a Widow, and you lose 400 plus health, and you're just dead immediately, and there's nothing you can do other than running away. Like if a Brig gets near you, you have to literally run away. And like what is that? Why is that a thing?
Yeah, she should be scared of you. She should be scared of hammer damage, you know, and being outmatched for melee.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also some other odd interactions that she has that I've heard you might like to talk about, such as what happens to her when she gets hacked and how her armor works with shields and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and explain to the audience what's wrong with some of those interactions.
Yeah, so there's like 3 major things I would definitely like to talk about. One is that her armor stays when she uses her ultimate. So she can use her ult, give everyone, I think it's currently 150 armor. Maybe it's 100. Is it 100 right now? Yeah,
It's 100, yeah.
She can give everyone 100 armor, and that stays until it's actually knocked off. And then she can start building her ultimate again for the next fight. Another reason why this is a huge problem is because of how it interacts with shields. So Zenyatta, for example, Zenyatta will have normal health, then armor, then shields. So you have to knock away the shields just to touch the armor to get it to go away, and then you can go down to the health. So I think they should really consider maybe adding armor before shields, so any initial damage will knock away the armor first. And then also another problem is that when the Brig gets hacked, the AoE heal still goes into effect. Like we know a huge change to Lucio recently was when Lucio got hacked. He's literally just the jumping training bot, and he can't do anything. He doesn't heal, he doesn't speed, he can't boop, can't use his ult, he can only shoot, and that's it. Brig can still heal, which is, I don't understand why it's like that.
A hack should secure you some advantage, right? If you hack a Brig in the middle of a brawl and she can just keep swinging and keep healing, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
I guess she can't shield bash, but still being able to heal is quite a big factor. I do agree with you. I do think that needs to be changed. In your mind, how can they change the hero so that she still has a place and a use without deleting her value completely? Because at the moment, the character is built to kind of be this hybrid character. What do they need to do to change her so that she then has counterplay and she's fun to play against and to play herself, but so that she doesn't just completely disappear?
I would just like to see them make a lot of minor tweaks. For example, maybe lowering the range on the stun, changing the way the armor interacts with shields, possibly changing her E to giving her more charges, but not making it as ridiculous. And maybe you can't throw it on the same person right away. Having her armor disappear after her ultimate is over, but possibly making her ult last a little bit longer and stack slower, something like that. But they could just do all these minor tweaks that just make her, I guess, more fun hero to play against or less unfun hero to play against.
I'm sure there's also people in the comment section who are like, well, this guy said he was a Junkrat main, and he's saying that another hero needs tuning back. What do you say to those people? Because actually, in your answer, you did say that when Junkrat got his second mine and they made all those changes, that he was overtuned. So what do you say to those guys?
Yeah, so I mean, I bought this game because I liked Junkrat. I saw my friend playing it, and I was like, let me try that. And I love the hero, so I bought it. And that was back before they even had competitive, and Junkrat was terrible. He could do self-damage to himself. He could kill him. If he got rezzed, he could kill himself with his own martyrdom. He could kill himself with his own riptire. He only had one mine. He was just such a bad hero, but I still loved playing it, and I played it. That was my main for the longest time. And then when they overtuned him, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, this hero, I know, isn't the most mechanically intensive. It does take a high amount of game sense at a top level if you want to win. Because currently on Overbuff, he has less than a 50% win rate. And there's no players in top 500 that even have Junkrat in their top 3 that are in top 500. It's like, that explains how bad this hero is. He's such a niche hero. But comparable to Brig is flooding the top 500 leaderboard. It's viable on any map, almost any comp.
We've talked about how in the matchmaking environment where it's not organized, Brigitte is a bit too much of an easy answer to too much skill. But what happens when you change a character for that environment so that she can't be this ubiquitous pick whenever you want hero? What happens to her in the pro scene? Because in the pro scene you were talking about how in her current state, which you consider pretty unfun to play against, she's not this be-all and end-all answer because the teams are so much more organized. If we nerf this hero, what happens to her pick rate at pro play?
Well, I'd have to see what kind of changes they make to her, but I'm sure they could find ways to make her viable. I think currently every single support is a viable option in the pro scene. Everything can be played, just depending on, you know, team composition and map. And I think if they, let's say, nerf Brig to the ground, it becomes a niche hero, is there really a problem with that? Like, does Brig have to be this viable? What's wrong with Brig only being good on this map or this comp or whatever? Like, I'm okay with that because that's basically how Junkrat is, and I'm still a Junkrat main.
Okay, PvP, I think we've covered just about everything for a possible Brigitte rework and why it might be needed. Would you just like to remind everyone of your social media links? And thank you very much for being a guest today.
Yeah, if you guys want to come check me out on Twitch at PVPTwitch or YouTube, or maybe say hi on Twitter, it's all the same, just PVPTwitch. I appreciate you having me, and I hope this actually reaches out to a broad audience and gets the word out on how unfun Brig is. And hopefully you guys that agree with us, you speak up and, you know, let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are. And yeah, thanks for having me.